You know, when that paycheck hits your account, there's a fork in the road, and your entire financial journey is decided by the very first question you ask yourself. The thing is, for most people, it's the wrong question.
So here's the split. Most people see that money and their first thought is, okay, what can I buy with this? But a small group of people ask something completely different. They ask, what can I buy that will buy me more things later? And that one tiny shift in perspective, well, that's everything. It's the fundamental difference between just spending and actually building wealth.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll tackle that new financial question. Then, we'll get really clear on income versus assets. After that, we'll talk about the golden rule, paying your assets first. Then we'll get practical, how to start buying, what to do with the returns, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple wealth formula. All right, Section 1. This is all about reprogramming how you see money. It really starts with looking at your income not as some kind of reward for your hard work, but as a tool.
Think about it this way. A paycheck isn't wealth. It's just fuel. It's the fuel for your financial engine. And where you point that engine, well, that determines if you just go around in circles or if you actually get somewhere meaningful.
Okay, let's move on. This next idea is, on the surface, incredibly simple. But honestly, not getting this is probably the biggest reason most people never build real wealth. You have to know the two sides of your financial life, income and assets.
So first up, income. This is pretty straightforward. It's the money you get for trading your time, your salary, your wages, whatever. The key characteristic here is really simple. If you stop working, the money stops coming in, period.
Now, an asset? That's the complete opposite. An asset is something you own that puts money into your pocket, whether you're working or not. It makes money for you, totally separate from your time.
And that's really the core distinction, right? As the saying goes, income feeds you today, assets feed you forever. One is about getting by right now, the other is about building a future where you don't have to worry about getting by. Okay, so if we agree that assets are the goal, then how you go about getting them is obviously critical. And this brings us to what I'd call an unbreakable rule of building wealth. It really dictates your entire financial path. So here's what most people do. It's pretty predictable, right? The paycheck comes in, first thing, pay the bills. Then, spend some on whatever you want. And then, if there's anything left at the end of the month, that little bit goes into savings. This is basically a formula for staying stuck.
The wealth method, though, flips that completely on its head. The very first move you make with your income is to buy an asset. You pay your assets first. Your bills, your wants, all of that comes second. It gets paid with whatever is left over.
And let me be really clear about this. This isn't a suggestion. It's non-negotiable. Your assets get paid before anyone else, before the landlord, before the credit card company, anyone. That discipline, that's what separates real financial growth from just treading water month after month.
All right, so let's get practical, because I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but I don't have a ton of money to start buying assets. And that right there, that's the biggest myth we need to bust. Look, the point isn't to make some huge, life-changing investment on day one. The real goal is to build the habit of buying assets. The amount doesn't matter nearly as much as the consistency. You just have to start where you are, with what you have.
So what does starting small actually look like? Well, it could be as simple as buying one share of a solid company. Or maybe you start a small automated side business. You could even create a simple digital product. Heck, even learning a high-income skill counts. That's an asset that boosts your ability to earn more. Honestly, the amount of money your first asset is worth is almost irrelevant. What's truly critical is that first dollar you earn while you're not working. That single dollar is your proof of concept. It's the moment you realize, wow, this actually works. My money can make more money on its own. Okay, so you've started, your assets are now generating a little bit of income. This is the next major decision point. It's where you decide if you're going to let the magic of compounding work for you, or if you're going to kill the momentum before it even starts. You've heard the saying, don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs, right? Well, that's exactly what happens here. The natural impulse when an asset makes a profit is to cash it out and spend it as a reward. But when you do that, you're literally destroying the machine that was making you money in the first place. So you have two paths. Path one is you take the reward. That stops all your growth, and you're basically resetting the clock back to zero. Path two is you reinvest. That accelerates your growth, it speeds up the clock. And really, only that second path leads to any kind of significant wealth down the line. All right, let's tie all of this together into one simple formula.
When you strip away all the jargon and the complexity, the whole process is really just a clear, repeatable loop.
But here's the catch. The hardest part of this formula isn't how complicated it is. It's having the patience to stick with it. The results aren't going to be immediate. In fact, for a while, your progress is going to feel painfully slow, almost like nothing's happening. And this right here is the point where most people quit.
So here's the formula. It's 5 steps. 1, you earn. 2, you save a piece of it. 3, you use that piece to buy assets. 4, you reinvest everything those assets produce. And 5, you just repeat over and over. The key is consistency over a long period of time.
So we're back where we started. Your paycheck is fuel, and the only question that matters is what you do with it. Are you going to use it for a quick, short-term ride that ends as soon as the fuel runs out? Or are you going to use it to build an engine that can carry you for the rest of your life?